Hey, welcome back to New York Comic-Con. Jeff Kraft here, and I'm hanging out with a couple of guys right now. One you're going to know very, very well. His name is Chad Coleman. We know him from The Wire. He played Cuddy, of course, and of course Tyrese on The Walking Dead. How you doing, bud? Thanks for joining us here today.
Hey, man, it's great to be here.
From one graphic novel to another graphic novel, and that's where Morgan Rosenblum comes in with Treadwater. Morgan, this is really cool, man. Your guys' booth here at New York Comic-Con is basically I could throw a little ping pong ball and hit your booth. You guys are right there. It's really close, and it's exciting. There's a lot of excitement built up around this. Let me see if we can go through this really quick if I get the understanding of this. We saw a trailer just now. So Treadwater, the majority of people on the planet are basically what you're saying is treading water because their hands are tied, because the general is in power, and basically if anything goes on, this general is going to blow up everything. But there's only one force of special operatives that stand in the way between hope and anarchy, and that is a special forces group called Treadwater. Did I get this right?
Close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Explain it to us.
So I'll give you the two-sentence log line.
Okay, got it. Better than mine.
15 years from now, in the wake of a global economic meltdown, chaos erupts and the world's safety is jeopardized by a whole new wave of climate terror. A privately funded team of high-tech special operatives is assembled, known as Treadwater, the only force standing between hope and anarchy.
Got it.
Yeah, but within the script, who said it? Someone from the media
Sylvie
said, what did she say? Just to reference it, because I remember when I read it.
So pretty much like the reason they're called Treadwater, they actually refer to themselves as the Candlelight Program, and they're sort of like imagine Batman on a global scale, right? With a little like Homeland in there, some Mission Impossible, and a whole lot of Lost, and I'll explain that in a bit. But pretty much they make a public, they hack in all like cable networks and whatnot and TVs around the world once they go in and essentially steal nuclear warheads to dismantle them. But out of fear of other people think they're like terrorists stealing them, so they hack the network and they pretty much say, we're not terrorists. This is not about good and bad. This is about doing what's necessary to maintain peace at all costs, right? Okay. And this is not a time to tread water, pretty much. And then the press prints an article like the next day calling it Treadwater: vigilantes, terrorists, or heroes. You be the judge. And that sort of like is our slogan: vigilantes, terrorists, heroes.
Bam.
All referring to Treadwater.
Bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, Chad. I'm glad, just do it this way.
Right.
You know what you need to do.
You.
Well, here's the graphic novel right here. Treadwater. You've been working on this for quite a few years. I want you guys to, Chad, I want you to explain.
Oh, okay.
I said it before, one graphic novel to another graphic novel. It wasn't like, oh, I want to go find out about this. I'm going to call him up. No, it all happened in a bar and a blind date. Right? But you weren't on the blind date.
One blind date, me on a date that we'll let that go. And this gentleman comes up to me and says, I'm sorry, but can I send you something?
Just send you
Well, for the record, he's not talking about me.
No,
okay? He's talking about my brother, who was also
brother.
Yeah.
And he said, he felt like it must have been fate to have been able to meet me at that restaurant, the Aqua Grill. I'll give them a shout out. And so from there, he said, man, I got to send you something. He started to explain to me what he and his brother and some other great guys were doing, and it sounded really exciting. And so he sent me an email, and I was floored with what was going on with this project. The graphics are amazing. It's hip. It's cool. It's right now. And so I wanted to move forward with it. And then they began to explain who my character was. And they had no idea that my character on The Walking Dead was going to lose an arm. And this guy, Mr. O.C., he's a badass. Oh, can you say that?
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay.
That's fine.
With a robotic arm, he's a arms dealer, and, he's kick-ass. He's really cool. You can see some of the graphics there. And he sells arms to the highest bidder, and he's riding around in a 747, Boeing 747, and he's a pretty kick-butt guy. And it gets way more elaborate than that as we go down the road.
Okay.
But so it was just a perfect fit, man.
It sounds like it. It sounds like a great fit. I know you're really excited about it.
Yeah.
Now, did you work into where you said, I want to have some ownership of this? Like, can I have part of this? Or are you just a character?
No, I threatened him. I just threatened.
You just threatened him. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay.
No, these guys have been very open and very inviting for me to be a part of this process on a larger scale than just an actor. So that was huge too.
Yeah, you have a lot of input on there.
I do. I get an opportunity. We're looking at the pilot script right now, and so it's all give and take, push and pull. We're a team, so it works that way.
I want to talk about the transmedia because you describe transmedia as a fourfold. Let's talk about what transmedia, the enterprise, is all about.
Sure. So we didn't coin that term to be.
Yeah, no, it's been out there, but explain what transmedia for people that don't know what transmedia is.
So think about Marvel, DC, all of their properties, X-Men, Spider-Man, Iron Man, whatever. They're all transmedia franchises. They began as a graphic novel, but they exist on multiple platforms at this point, right? You got like comic books, you have TV series, movies, video games, action figures. So we kind of decided I started writing the graphic novel 3 years ago, and then sort of immediately upon completing it, had like shown my brother and my other partner Nat, and we sort of said like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we took this into live action? Because I had actually written the graphic novel as like a TV pilot originally with the goal of always bringing it to TV. And then was sort of like, who am I? I'm a no-name, untrained writer. So I might as well at least have like something tangible that I can show my grandkids someday. But it wound up coming out pretty good. So then I showed it to them, and they were like, let's take this one step further into live action. And then we were like, let's do a video game. Let's do an interactive web series and all this stuff. And so you're looking at part of the video game right now. It's still a pre-alpha demo, but we're pretty happy with how it's coming along.
Any way you want to see it,
Yeah.
we offer it up, which is huge today,
It is huge. And you're talking about earlier, you were talking about the interactiveness. You have the characters or the fans out there that can basically manipulate and decide their story to some point. We have the graphic novel, the movie you were talking about that's possibly going to be coming out. TV series?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to do a TV series.
Gives us a much bigger, canvas to really. There's a lot of characters in Treadwater, and each one of them are extremely well fleshed out. Like when we were writing the characters, we wanted to make sure that any one of them could have their own spin-off.
Well, let's talk about some of the main characters. Who are some of the main characters?
Sure. So let's just begin with like the founder, Alan Downs, who's essentially like Bruce Wayne minus the Batman and Lucius Fox, who's like the engineer, put into one person. So this guy, Alan, doesn't have like the hero card in him or whatnot, but when he's putting together his vigilante program, he begins sort of like profiling potential candidates to become part of his team, and he knows he can't just hire mercenaries, because if he does that, then they could sell his secrets to the highest bidder. So instead, he starts looking for hooks, something that he can exploit almost and manipulate. He doesn't blackmail them. Instead, he sort of bribes them. So, for example, when he finds this ex-Special Forces captain, right, 2 Purple Hearts, Medal of Honor, Lucky Joe Merson, his nickname's Lucky Joe, and his daughter was involved in a vicious car crash and is now comatose on life support. And Joe is running out of time and money, and all he has is his daughter. And Alan hears about this ex-Special Forces captain and goes, "That's my guy." Shows up at the hospital and pretty much says, "Lucky Joe Merson, huh? Like, what would it be worth to you if I could keep your daughter alive indefinitely?" And he's like, "What do you want me to do?" And he pretty much says, "Is there anything you wouldn't do to save your daughter?" And of course, Joe's like, "No, there's nothing I wouldn't do."
He's getting into character right now, too. I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
totally.
And then so essentially Joe signs the blank check, and now he's hooked. But what's cool and one of the fun, dark things about the series is that after a while, he just sort of starts to not trust Alan anymore, because he thinks that maybe he's just keeping his daughter alive but never pulling her out of the coma, which he claims that he can do. Just because he knows as soon as he pulls her out, then he can, like, Joe will
that's
leave.
what you want.
That is what you want.
Gray areas.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not sure if someone's good or bad. You're not quite sure what his intentions are, or if there's someone behind him.
That's right.
Possibly with maybe a darker motive. So it keeps the audience.
You don't know anything about that, right?
Right.
You don't know anything about that when it comes to TV series.
No way. Nothing dark, no.
Where did it come from? Where did this whole story come from? Because this is not your background. You didn't just show up and go, I've been doing this for a long time. Here's another project. Let's see if this sticks. This is like your first project, and it has stuck. It's stuck really well.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I could have been investing all my time and money and effort into a crap story and stuff like that. I think obviously when you show things to friends and family, they're going to be a little biased as to, how much they like you. But once I started showing it, to people, and especially the fans, like we debuted it, last year, I would say, around Comic-Con, and the response from the fans was overwhelmingly positive, like way more than I was hoping that, but not to the level it was. And our fan base has been growing steadily, and everyone that reads the graphic novel comes back and they're like, I usually don't like graphic novels, but this is awesome. Like, I need to see this on TV. So, like, that obviously was a great reinforcement, but it was a gamble, like when you put all your money and your effort into something, you hope it pays off. But to answer your question, where did it come from? Pretty much everywhere. I find things on TV and video games and comic books that I love, and I find a way to incorporate that appropriately into my story where it fits and it makes sense. So a lot of the times, people come up and they're like, oh, that reminds me of, that kind of reminds me of, and I'm like, yes, that's where I got the idea from, and I'm so happy that you actually pulled up. I don't look at that as like plagiarism or anything. I look at that as inspiration. Right.
Yeah. Well, you should. We're talking about a gamble. I mean, you were kind of taking a gamble as well, but you really fell in love with what was going on, Chad, with what Morgan had created. This is not something you do all the time. You don't just say, I'll try that. I'll try that. You don't just dabble. You really commit, and you've committed for this, Absolutely. and it's helped tremendously with Morgan. But the story is phenomenal without Chad. Let's talk about your character. The influence that you've had with your characters from the very beginning. Is it a lot? Did you change anything from Morgan's original idea of what this character would be?
I would say he just tweaked it a little bit. I think Mr. O.C. was kind of fleshed out really well, which is what was intriguing to me, to play this badass guy who's selling arms to the highest bidder. But he's a multi-layered type of dude for sure. And so it was just intriguing to just to see where he stood in the world, and it's an opportunity to play something different than Tyrese, or Cuddy. So I like he's multi-layered, not only just on an emotional level, but like politically, ideologically, how he sees the world. All that stuff is going on, and that's exciting and intriguing. And it's like right now, we live in a very international world. I mean, look at what's going on right now with Russia and ISIS and things. I think this, we'll have an opportunity to pull those things in. Some of it's already happening, you know what I mean?
In real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I was just thinking today, I didn't get a chance to tell you that it's an opportunity for people. It's almost a way for people to negotiate all of that discomfort and, pain. It's
I like that. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You use the show as a means to be able to kind of deal with it. And I mean, even if it's in fantasy, it's like at least we have this amazing idealism of, these group of people who are really going to protect the world. And it gives you a chance to kind of mull it over. Just like there is no, obviously we're not in an apocalyptic world.
It's pre-apocalyptic, actually.
Pre-apocalyptic.
They want to prevent it.
Exactly.
Sure, yeah. So that's the whole point of it, yeah.
So, but The Walking Dead was an opportunity for people to have that dialogue and for people who do believe in it to that point to be able to, experience it in a certain way. There are many people who are packing away weapons.
Yeah.
So this show, I think, too, will have the opportunity for people to really kind of negotiate all that stuff through us. You're a
superhero. I mean, you are in many people's eyes a superhero because you are the one that is standing between, like Morgan, you said, hope and anarchy.
Well,
so
he specifically, his character, Mr. Rossi, is actually a black market arms dealer. He's not in Treadwater.
Oh, he's not in Treadwater
no.
at all.
He's not in the organization. So there's a ton of characters that we focus on, and it's not.
Yeah, that's.
But trust me, it's so many layers to it.
There's a lot that's coming out. Obviously, what you're saying, from what I understand, what you're saying, I'm reading between the lines here a little bit. So what's available right now with Treadwater on that transmedia platform? What is available right now?
So our website acts as like
a graphic novel is available.
Yeah. Our graphic novel is like our bread and butter. That's the origin of the entire thing. It has the most story to it. It got indie bestseller. Like it won a couple awards and stuff. That's like art. That's our baby. Everything else spawned from that. But what I was just going to say is the interactive website. There's all the transmedia stuff you can view for free there.
Okay.
You can even like demo the first 24 page. We made a motion comic, like of the first 24 pages of a 160-page graphic novel with voice actors and sound effects and music. And you can see that for free on our website, so treadwater.tv.
Right.
Now, you want this to be a series. Now, what I understand is you've just wrapped up enough writing for 5. For 5 different years?
Yeah.
Really? So it's all ready to go.
So,
now you're just getting ready for the pitch.
Yeah, well, to clarify, we did a series Bible, not like we did the pilot, the written pilot, which, the script. And then we have, like, season 1 fully mapped out, almost like scene by scene. But we have the entire story for seasons 2 through 5, like all the character arcs, storylines, subplots, who dies, who lives, all that. Like, it's all mapped out completely. I mean, but at the same time, if we bring on a showrunner, which is our hope, like a big one, you want them to, creative input, all that stuff, and they'll probably tweak and be like, I don't like that character, or I want to create a new one or something, which we're fine with.
I really think it's going to be massive, man. I really think it's going to be massive. A lot of people are over there talking about. They've come over here with the conversation as well. People online are creating a conversation. It's exciting, and having you a part of it and bringing that fan base over to this particular novel that has grown already so fast is really, really exciting. Bummed to see Tyrese killed off in season 5. 5 was really, I needed to throw that in there.
But that was quite an episode.
It was quite an episode.
Quite an exit.
I know a lot of people here want to hear all about that. So treadwater.tv is where you can find it. Of course, Treadwater, at Treadwater on all social media platforms.
Yeah, at Treadwater.
All right, good deal. Morgan, Chad, Coleman, thank you very, very much. Hey,